All right, guys, I'm not going to go through everything on the review, but I'm going to give you guys hints on what to do on the review. So this is part one. I apologize. I had to redo the video, so I already started writing, but I'm going to go back through it with you. So on number one, it says, what is the measure of angle B to the nearest degree? Right, so the measure of angle B in this triangle, it's not necessarily a right triangle. You notice that we only know this angle. That doesn't mean that these are 90s. So, since it's not necessarily a right triangle, we have to use either the law of sines or the law of cosines. So let's start off with the law of sines. That's usually the easier one for students. Sine A over A is equal to sine B over B is equal to sine C over C. So let's see if we have enough information to use this. We may or we may not. Okay, so in order to use this, I have to have either an angle and the corresponding side, and then be missing an angle and its one of these two, like the angle or the corresponding side. Or it could be like B and C's. So I could have sine A over A, sine B over B, sine C over C. I could have any two of these and only be missing one. So in this case, I can't use sine A. I have nothing on A and nothing across from A, right? So I would not use sine A at all, but I could be using B. So sine B is what I'm looking for, and I do have B, the length of B. And then sine C, I do have angle C, and I do have its corresponding side. So I could use the law of sines, and that's exactly what I would use. I would use sine B over B is equal to sine C over C, and this would be my unknown, and I would solve for B right here. Okay, the next one, again, not a right triangle, and so since it's not necessarily a right triangle, we either have to use law of sines or law of cosines. So if I look at this, I can replace my sine A, B, and C with G's and H's and F's. So for example, I would need sine G over G is equal to sine H over H is equal to sine F over F. Now, I have F, the angle, but I don't have F, the side. So that's okay if I have two other pieces that will work. So do I have H and H? No, I don't. I am missing H. And do I have G and G? No, I don't. So I cannot use law of sines. I am going to have to use law of cosines. So this, just to remind you, this was the law of cosines. So law of cosines was a squared, so pick any angle, right? Or sorry, any side. And then the other two sides would be B and C. Minus, now these two letters have to match these two angles, so minus 2 BC, BC, and then cosine A. The angle always matches the length over here. Again, they could write it in terms of B or in terms of C. Well, since I've got G's, H's, and F's, and I'm looking for angle G, I want angle G to come right here. I want this to say cosine G. And then in front of it, right, so this would make this a G squared since these two have to match. So this would make this a G squared. And that should equal my other two signs, which are F and H. So F squared plus H squared minus, and then remember these two letters will show up right here, 2FH. Now, if you start to substitute these